What's up guys, Jack here with MTS, and throughout my quest to find some really cool smart home stuff for the new house, well, I ran across the Ikea Tradfri platform, and it really caught my attention, with especially these $6 buttons that I can put anywhere to trigger stuff. The fact that the hub is only 35 bucks, bulbs aren't incredibly expensive, and you don't need an account in order to use it. But it does have some limitations, so let's talk about that. Taking everything out of the box, all of the hardware comes with all of the necessary accessories that you need for it. The little shortcut buttons come with their batteries. The remote, however, does not come with the 2 AAA batteries that it needs, but the hub comes with a power adapter, Ethernet cable, all the batteries and mounting options that you could want. This stuff is great in terms of accessories. But getting everything plugged in and hopping into the app to set everything up is where we run into the first thing that I really like about the Ikea platform. You're greeted with find your gateway, not create an account or sign in. I really appreciate that because I don't think I should have to have an account in order to turn on my plug socket from within my own home. Am I wrong? Continuing on with the setup process, I went to add my light bulb and then I ran into a bit of an issue. I couldn't find the light bulb category. Everything was pair a remote, and I'm like, why am I pairing a remote? But turns out it uses the remote itself in order to pair the light bulb. So these light bulbs don't have a pairing button on them, plus you have to get them very close in order to actually pair up. So you pair the remote to the hub, and then you pair the bulb to the hub by using the remote. So I kind of understand why they're doing that, but if you bought the light bulbs independently or didn't buy one of these remotes, you're out of luck and you gotta go buy one of these in order to pair up the bulbs. But after I got everything set up, that's where I ran into a lot of the software issues, specifically regarding these $6 little shortcut buttons, which is the whole reason why I wanted the Ikea platform. One, these $6 little shortcut buttons that I can put wherever I want, and 2, the ability to integrate with Home Assistant. Now, right out of the box, it integrates with Home Assistant perfectly. The bulbs show up, my buttons show up, everything just works. Except for when they don't. So these little shortcut buttons can't be unpaired from an action inside of Ikea Tradfri, inside of their own platform. So if I want these buttons to do anything in Home Assistant, well, they're also gonna be doing something in Tradfri. And you can get around that. When you set up these buttons and just first pair them to the gateway, you don't have to assign them an action. So that's kind of a way to get around that, but if you select an action, you have to unpair the button and then repair it and skip setting up an action in order to get the buttons to do stuff in Home Assistant, but not the Tradfri app. The second big issue is that inside of Home Assistant, these buttons cannot just be used out of the box. Their action is the battery level. So if I want my lights to turn off whenever the battery level of this thing drops to a certain percent, well, I can do that. But I can't just natively say, hey, this button turns on all of my smart home stuff. And also inside of the Ikea app, from what I've been able to find, the only thing that these buttons can do is either trigger a scene or trigger everything to turn off. So you can't just make them do whatever you want. And that was the whole reason why I wanted the whole Tradfri platform, because I can get cheaper bulbs from TP-Link and I can get better plug sockets from TP-Link as well. Just look at the Ikea Tradfri plug compared to the TP-Link Casa plug. The Casa plug is much smaller, so I can stack them on outlets. This thing also doesn't have a button on it, so I can't turn the plug socket on and off without going into the Ikea app or Home Assistant if that's how I'm controlling everything. I've been using the Casa smart plugs for a long time now and I've been really happy with them. They're super small, super low profile, can be controlled with Home Assistant, don't require an account or anything for setup, and they're Wi-Fi based, so I don't need to have a hub. Now that could be a pro and a con depending on how you look at that, but it's really nice for me that I don't have to worry about the range of Zigbee. And the TP-Link smart plugs can be bought for like $6 a piece if you get them in the 4-pack for like 25 bucks, whereas the Ikea plug is $10 a piece. The second big complaint that I have with all of the Ikea stuff is that I don't have enough options. The whole smart home stuff is really nice because it's designed to allow me to have flexibility in how I control stuff. If I have to use this remote in order to control all of my light bulbs, well then how is this much different than an outlet switch on my wall? Yes, I can pick this up and take it with me, but I can't use these buttons to do whatever I want. I can't reprogram the actions of this light remote to do whatever I want. I can't make it control groups of other devices. I can't make it control different scene changes. Say I want these buttons to change scenes instead of changing, the color based off of the hue. I can't do that. These buttons are always gonna be changing the color of the bulb group that they're a part of. And these buttons will always be used for brightness. So it doesn't have the flexibility of control options that I'm looking for. Now, the third big problem that I have with the IKEA stuff is the lack of color control and really color reproduction. This is set to blue. Does this look blue to you? Because this looks like a weird, almost black light purple to me. And in the app, you only have 20 colors to choose from. You don't get a full-on RGB picker, you get 20 presets. Now in Home Assistant, you can control the lights to do whatever you want, so let's see where it really falls apart, and that's displaying greens, and really any other true color for that matter, but greens especially are where this thing falls apart. Here we can see just straight up green. This is RGB 0, 255, 0, just green. And this is that green compared to a DMX stage light on a white wall emulating green. And now we have just a straight up green old CFL light bulb. And this is the Ikea Tradfri's pathetic excuse for green. What is this? This is not green. This is some puke lime color, not green. Overall, the Ikea hardware is fine, except for I don't know what's happening with the color of these bulbs, whether that's an actual limitation of the LEDs that they're actually using or it's just a software thing. I'm not too sure. But really it's the software behind these buttons. Yes, I can do some hacky workaround with programming and code writing and all that stuff to get these to work inside of Home Assistant, but I don't want to do that. I am perfectly fine DIYing and customizing things to make them do what I want them to do on certain things, but for my smart home, for things that I'm just controlling in my house, I want that to be easy. I don't want to have to jump into YAML files and messing with configuration stuff. I just want something that works easily out of the box. Although one pretty cool thing about these things using Zigbee instead of Wi-Fi is that you don't have to wait for the Wi-Fi to reconnect. The Zigbee reconnects much faster. So if I unplug a plug socket from the wall or turn off the light switch that these bulbs are, connected to, I can control them a lot faster, not requiring as much of a boot up time or reconnection time. I have pretty much instant control over the Ikea stuff once I plug it back in, versus having to wait about 10 to 20 seconds for the TP-Link stuff to reconnect to my network. Now, one of the reasons why you might still want to go with the Ikea platform is because of their smart shades. Their smart shades are far less expensive than anything like the Lutra and Serena shades, or really anything else in the market, short of DIYing something. And because I don't want to really DIY too much with my smart home in terms of, actually going out of my way and designing, modeling, printing off, and fabricating my own shades and stuff, I'm gonna try and see if I can get the Tradfri shades to work with Home Assistant using some sort of alternative interface, because I feel like that will give me the best of both worlds. I'll still have easy control through Home Assistant, but I won't really have to do any of the DIY stuff of building my own shades or really writing any, custom YAML files or config stuff. I know it's pretty easy once you learn how to do it and everything, but it's just something that I don't want to spend my time on. So overall, the Ikea Tradfri platform, the way they're able to cut down on the cost and get the prices so low is because their software is just not up to par. But overall, I think the hardware is great. These little buttons are sick. The shades are inexpensive. So if you can find a way to work around these quirks with getting it to work with Home Assistant, well then yeah, it's a good platform. But for me, it's just not there yet. But anyway guys, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a like. If you really liked it and want to see more of me in your subscription feed, well then go ahead and get subscribed, because I'm going to be doing videos about the whole smart home stuff in the new house, as well as networking both 3 places. 1, an apartment, 2, a garage apartment thing, and 3, my new house once that gets built. But anyway guys, thank you all for watching. I'll have links to all the stuff I talked about in the description down below, including the TP-Link Casa stuff. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.